Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week we're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles made in 1990, starring Judith Hogue. And like always, we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens,
hello,
and the man that loves that little box, Ryan Preston. Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. This week is a special episode. We call it Challenge Accepted. If you don't recall, a couple episodes ago, James challenged Ryan and I to pick Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles made in 1990 for one of us to review it. So I picked it, and so since I picked it, Ryan, what is this movie about?
Well, indeed it is a special episode, John, and I just want to start out by apologizing to the viewers out there for having yet another movie with Corey Feldman. Not since, I think, our inaugural episode of Lost Boys have we put people through Corey Feldman. Although he was just a voice in this one, so, you know, it was sight unseen, you know, not too bad.
Partially forgivable.
But at least it's not
this
both
wasn't
of them.
necessarily a challenge to just, you know, let's review this movie. This to me was a challenge that I'm going to defend this movie as a decent one, but we'll get to that. Like you said, we're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1990. Played by starring the woman whose name you mispronounced earlier, and a bunch of voices of a bunch of puppets in foam rubber. Basically, this movie is based on, obviously the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles before was... it
was a cartoon and it was a comic before that.
Right. Well, was it a comic first or a cartoon first?
It was a comic first.
It was a comic book.
Comic for naturally, and then cartoon, and then very popular cartoon. And then they made this movie in 1990. Interesting thing about this movie is it wasn't played towards the kid generation of the time. It was more towards the people who grew up either with the comic or the cartoon a handful of years before. But basically standard story of the Turtles. You know what I mean? You kind of just end up meeting them halfway into their lives in New York, and kind of just dumps you right inside the mythology of the whole movie.
Well, that's kind of where you actually start in the comic or the cartoon, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, the original.
Yeah, they never did an origin story until way later in their runs.
Well, they actually, what they did, if I remember correctly, in the very first episode, the pilot of the cartoon in the 80s, they actually started off similar. April was in the Turtles' lair, and they said where they came from.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They kind of did a backstory like they did in the movie with April.
Yeah.
And then later, years later, they did the origin story. Yeah.
But without getting into the review, I mean that's pretty much the movie. You know, obviously shenanigans ensue with the Foot Clan and Shredder and all that good stuff. And Splinter, is the faithful mentor.
Yeah.
So since I was the one who accepted this challenge, I think I'm going to go first.
All right.
Sure.
One of the things that stood out to me, the soundtrack. It is definitely an early 90s, late 80s. I don't think there's anything that defined that period of the 80s and 90s than that soundtrack.
But you were blown away by that.
You can tell exactly when that movie was made.
You were blown away by that that song at the end for like 2.5 minutes.
Oh God, I wish I remember what that was called, but that song was how did I put it? Horrible, but hilarious. All they need is a dude with a damn big clock, dancing or something. It would have been hilarious. The other part that I was actually surprised after watching it again was the color palette. It had a very more realistic, natural color tone, but still had a 90s overtone to it.
They really did their best to try to set it in the real world.
They did.
I mean, the 90s overtone, that was just product of the times. Everybody's wearing, neon green and orange.
And as James pointed out, acid wash jeans.
Yeah. There was a lot of
90s clothing.
Yeah, that should have stayed in the 90s.
1990. So, you're really basically 10 years into the 80s. So, basically, everybody is so bloody used to that in the 90s, or right in 1990, nobody had really merged past the 80s yet. So, you still had a lot of extra shit to deal with.
Neon clothing and stuff like that. One other thing, this movie had some of the greatest quotes ever.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but okay.
Like one of my favorite ones. The Turtles were watching Aesop's Fables, and my favorite quote on there was "Ninja kick the damn rabbit." I love that quote.
Ninja kick the damn.
The other one was, "How are you guys supposed to beat me?" Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah,
that was funny.
10 of them come out. Yeah,
it's more of a visual thing, but it was still pretty damn funny.
Right.
The other one was,
and the voice sells it so good.
Yeah, and the other one is when the Foot Clan is in April's apartment building and start attacking her, and this says there was these guys are definitely not lumberjacks. No joke. The only things safe in the forest would be the trees. You know, it's when they're getting attacked and they're slicing up the floor and not killing any turtles.
Right. Well, that was it. Yeah, that was her apartment. Yeah.
Or her building.
Yeah, it was her apartment.
Raphael fell through the skylight and
the other one I never caught as a kid. I always thought it was funny, but didn't realize what it meant was, "You're claustrophobic." Pause. What did you say? I've never looked at another man.
yeah. There was some funny things like that in there, and that's classic Turtles.
Well, it was funny to me that they really played them slightly older than teenagers, but they really still had that kind of that attitude of, you know, like I don't know, teenage angst, I guess is the best way I can put it. I mean, how do you sum up that set of feelings? But you know, with the whole, I love was it Raph that went out in the beginning to go see a movie?
Yeah.
Throws on his G-Man coat and the hat.
Yeah, and went to go see Critters.
Yeah, that was
right.
Sorry. I was going to say one of the things that I always thought about. I always liked the cartoon because the cartoon was super. Did not take itself seriously. They popped themselves out of the cartoon, would look at the audience and would say stuff like, "I hate doing stuff like this," you know, type of thing.
Yeah.
And James and his wife came up with a drinking game. Every time you hear a synth in this movie, take a shot.
Again, Real Flix Reviews is not liable for any damages that may ensue to your brain, body, or any other.
What he said.
Any other thing in the vicinity.
What he said. And this, you know, I actually think this movie holds up really well for being as old as it is. And my rating is, I've got a preference with this because of the actual the stuff that this movie was about, the stories, the cartoons, and comic books. Because of what they base it on, I have to give it a 4. Because they did a really good job basing it off a cartoon, an 80s cartoon, and a comic book.
Right, and I mean, here's your first example of somebody trying to do what Batman Begins did not that long ago, which was real world application of these, you know, like Unreal characters.
Yeah.
And this sort of, you know, a lot of movies you sort of take a bunch of stuff on, you know, just like concept alone, like, oh, okay, I'll take that this organization exists because, you know, that functions the story. I mean, things like that. Adjustment Bureau, good example. I mean, you take things on concept.
Yeah.
This one, it really was like, okay, let's try to legitimize this concept. You know what I mean? As much as we can, and obviously it's Ninja Turtles. So I mean, I think they did a brilliant job of maintaining sort of the look of the times, the feel of everything they got right. I mean, it was a solid movie. Take aside the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
you know
see that's the thing. You're basing an entire movie off was it anamorphic turtles? They can walk. They can walk on 2 legs. They can talk, and they have a giant rat. So unless you're talking politics, they did a pretty good job.
Right.
All right. So are we gonna? Am I gonna be the last one here?
I mean, hey, feel free. I feel like I should get a 30-second rebuttal after this, so let loose, son.
Okay.
Oh, this is going to be fascinating.
All right, so now you brought up an interesting point. Okay. Before I even go here, guys, for the audience out there, I am a Turtles fan. I have liked the Turtles ever since I was a little kid.
Really?
Before this movie even came out.
Sure.
And, I mean, always my favorite turtle is always going to be Raphael. I love the temper on that dude.
Fegish, the angriest guy in the room.
Best guy, right
Complete
there.
Smart ass. Love the one-liners.
And he would always charge head on into any situation.
And he was the one that did the Cagney impression, right?
Yes.
There you go. It's my dog.
Now,
No, that was Michelangelo who did the
was
Cagney.
it?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
Mikey.
well, he was the other. He was always my fallback character. Then it was Donatello, and then it was Leonardo. Never really was a big Leonardo fan, but that's how they always went in my book.
Well, see, I
Raphael,
chose
Michelangelo,
I love the size,
Donatello,
so I'm sold on that. I would go for the two samurai swords, but he's kind of a pussy when it comes down to it. He's always trying to keep everybody else in line.
So
when I look at this movie,
oh no,
I don't look at this as like, oh, I'm going to tear the story apart.
Yeah,
I enjoy the story. I mean, I like that they came from some nuclear waste dump, and Turtles.
Which we don't find out until Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah. But anyways, I mean,
Secret of the Ooze.
Yes, he's right.
Isn't that it?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It was.
It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I enjoy them. So before I get into anything here, I mean, I want to preface that. So when I heard as a kid that this movie was coming out, I was super excited.
How old were you when this came out?
I was about
Probably like 8
9
or something like that?
8 or 9.
Okay.
So,
right at the
I
top
heard
of
about it, and then I heard it was live action. You know what happened?
You wet yourself.
I got a pit in my stomach
And then you wet yourself?
that I was going to be disappointed by this movie.
Okay, fair enough.
So-
At 9 years old, you're sitting there like, I'm going to be let down by Hollywood already.
Yes!
I
I already had that expectation.
just already jaded, 9 years old. Just like, God, why?
Well, at 9 years old, you have almost 10 years of watching Hollywood movies, and when you're from the 80s,
So
Well,
this
look,
is
I mean, that was the only way my parents could get me to sit down for 2 hours, throw on a movie,
So now another thing that I want to bring up is I'm not a big Muppets fan. Never was. I mean, I wasn't bothered by them, but I did like Jim Henson stuff. I did.
Yeah, well,
so
all
Jim
the Jim Henson
Henson
stuff that I liked, I wasn't even aware that it was him until much later.
So Jim Henson is the creator of all these outfits.
is he really? That I didn't know.
Yes. It's from the Jim Henson's Creature Shop. He supplied the 4 central characters as well as Splinter.
Wow.
Who was done by Brian Henson, was chief puppeteer and also served as a second unit director overseeing the fight sequences and stuff like that. Now, there was 2 separate body sets for each turtle.
Because there were human puppets with human suits with
Hold on.
people, right?
Yeah. So the
Right.
heavier, more detailed suits were done by the principal body performers. So when they were walking around doing most of the scenes and stuff like that,
Close-up stuff, and yeah.
those were just body actors walking around. When they got into the fighting sequences, they were done with a lighter suit.
Oh, that would
so
make
that they
sense.
could do most of their
Right.
things.
More dexterity.
I mean, obviously, you got to put ninjas in the suits.
The faces were controlled by motorized cables that were located in the shells. So that's how they did this thing. And this system wasn't really developed much more until later when Dinosaurs came out. I'm sure you guys remember that TV show.
Right, which was also a Jim Henson one.
That was. And I actually enjoyed that one too. Not the mama.
Catch the first couple of seasons on Netflix, folks.
Yeah. Anyway, so,
That.
they did a good job in the suits, but my thing about it was that always bugged me about this movie, and this probably still bugs me, and it was probably the first thing that really annoyed me when I was a young kid, right after I wet Ryan's bed, was the fact that how much would it be to take a piece of metal and stick it in the shell so when they fall down, they're not in turtles in a soft shell.
Right. Okay. I was going to say, are you talking about the shells imploding on themselves?
Yes, that
yeah.
continually bugged me, and that's another thing that I kept catching in this thing. And now I understand that's a nitpicking thing, but they're turtles for crying out loud. All right?
It is one of those things you feel like should be a consistency,
Thank you.
hard shell turtle.
Thank you.
I agree.
Now, another thing, too, is now I understand that this movie was done in the 1990s. They had limited things. But still, I mean, even some of the actual other characters, when they were looking at him, were like, are you in a costume? That's kind of one of the things that, I mean, Casey Jones, first time he meets Raph, what does he say? What are you doing in that thing? It looks like you're in a costume, right?
Yeah. It ain't Halloween yet or something.
Yeah. So, the suits still look like costumes to me. They don't actually look like turtles. So that was one of the big things that always had bugged me. And I understand, and I'm trying to give him a little leeway, but that was one of the things that really bugged me. The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that really bugged me? The other thing is, I mean, as... what was the thing that Was it you that pointed out that they were a little bit more mature than?
Yeah, that was Ryan.
Yeah.
That was earlier.
Yeah, they played them a slightly bit older.
Yeah, slightly a little bit older. And I mean, one of my favorite things about like the younger Turtles was the fact that they were like always jumping around on their skateboards, doing a bunch of different things, and just being, you know, more teenager-ish.
Right. Yeah. The only time you really see them get kind of teenagery is every now and again, smart alecking Splinter. And then when they start chopping up pizza, and
they do that weird.
Part of those scenes too, kind of.
But look, I mean, when you grow up in the hood, you grow up faster.
They kind of irked me a little bit in the sense that some of the scenes where they were supposed to be like, kind of act a little bit more like, ooh, pizza.
Right.
Where is it? Oh my God, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Type thing. You know, that was kind of like a little bit like forced and not really like teenager-ish.
Mm-hmm. Although they did nail the whole Cowabunga, awesome, wretched, and then Bossa Nova.
They did pull that stuff out.
That was purely teenage type, like Bossa Nova.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said,
I never said that as a teenager.
And the other thing,
that's why you would have looked at him like he's crazy.
The other thing is, John brought this up as far as the movie holds up today. I mean, you need to clarify that a little bit more.
If you view some movies from the 80s, especially movies when they have these people in these costumes, is the costumes hold up, the visuals hold up. It's not like stepping back
stepping back in time.
Like some of the Critters movies, some of them don't hold up. RoboCop doesn't really hold up.
Of course, Critters in space won't hold up.
There's it's just overall the theme and the feel of the movie still holds up to me.
See, I can't really.
To me, there was always a sweet spot between, special effects and practical, visual effects and things, and which is they've kind of lost that sweet spot, especially nowadays. Only a handful of people really do it. The Ridley Scotts and
Peter Jackson,
Chris Nolan's of the world and stuff like that. Try to do as much as they can, but something about those old costumes, it still kind of is as fake as the some of the CGI stuff that you've seen, but something feels just a little more, tactile, like I can reach out and touch it still. And there's really something to be said for that. Obviously, they didn't have the...
Hold on. I was going to say, one of the things I think I agree with Ryan is especially on that, is because a day when all you generally see is CGI, is I think you're a little more forgiving because it's not obviously CG.
Okay, well,
that's the thing.
Let me come back to that, because I agree with you, and I agree and I disagree. And hold on, I gotta say this though. I agree that there is something about them that is like you can almost see that type of costume, stylized creation, kind of the monster creation of the costume, and I'd even use that as a monster thing, because it's basically took those type of things and mixed them together, and that is great precision done by the Henson Corporation. Hold on.
Again, I mean, arts that are being lost. I mean, stuff like the model making of these creatures, the costume making. I mean, a handful of people still do these big costumes, but who does miniature models of towns anymore to blow up? Everybody just CGIs over Google Maps.
So I think those costumes could not be done any better today. Can I say that? That's what I mean by I agree.
Sure, yeah, no, hell no.
I agree, but I disagree in the sense that I still don't think they hold up, but I do not think they could be done any better today.
My point is, I think they hold up as well as some of the more mediocre
CGI
won't you've ever seen.
CGI wouldn't hold a candle to these guys.
I think this is a little bit of a non sequitur, but I think they hold up as good as the Iron Man suits in the Iron Man movies.
Okay, I'll give you that. But I don't think they hold up, and I'm going to bring it back to one of the first movies we did, is Alien. I don't think it holds up as well as the things that were done in that movie as far as the space area.
But when you cover something with gallons of KY jelly, I mean, come
exactly.
on.
So it's a different thing.
Yeah, you get a glisten that you can't get anywhere else.
Exactly.
So I think they could have,
and they were able to do things with that creature, like just on sort of strings and
no. I'm not talking about the creature Alien. I'm talking about the actual scene work and things like that. I don't think that type of stuff from this movie holds up. I'm not talking about the creature anymore. I'm talking about the set design.
Just the film itself,
the film
aside
itself.
from
it feels a little Dick Tracy to me.
Well, here's a question.
I didn't think that at all.
I think it felt like Dick Tracy
vibe. Although they really nailed that movie too. I mean, as far as what they wanted that to be.
But you know what I mean, though. The set and the way that things were built around them, it kind of felt a little.
See, I personally disagree, but you know that's But I have to say I'm a little biased because I am a fan of the movie. Always have been.
I'm not.
Okay,
let me put it this way:
times of when people made movies in the 90s, starting with the 90s, the 90s action movies and whatnot happened to be the best set of action movies because again, you're dealing with practical effects and people who still know how to blow shit up, etc.
So we're sorry. So we're running.
Yeah, we're running
a little late. We're cutting into other things. What is your score on this?
Yeah, as far as the whole thing goes, I would reserve a 2 for the ones that come after this. So as far as what we've talked about, I think it did what I wanted to. So it's a 3, but it's a low 3.
Okay. So it's the
all right. Defend.
If we had a point.
Oh God, I wish I could justify a 4 for this one because I'm so fucking biased to everything this movie's about.
I justified a 3. I mean a 4. You know.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I probably could. I'll suffice it to say I'm going to give it a wicked high 3 if James is going to give it a low 3 if that's a thing.
I'm on the verge of giving it a 2. Let me just put it that way.
Which is shocking because I would give the second one a high 3 as well.
Really?
I'd give the second one a high 3.
Who's kicked ass?
Really?
I mean, it didn't have Rocksteady and Bebop, but it was the close. And so what's your rebuttal, Ryan?
Man.
I don't know if I agree with the whole Dick Tracy comment, but I'll give you the the soft shell thing and stuff like that and like I said, I even mentioned them seeming like they were a little bit older. I loved the world that they put these 4 turtle suits in. Like it was legitimate. Except, I mean, I don't think that those types of underground, teenage clubs really existed. I love the whole, regular or menthol thing when Danny
in the Foot HQ.
The Foot Clan. That's something, I was probably 7 or something, or maybe 8 when I saw it the first time, and I was like, menthol? What is he offered him cigarettes? This is bad. They're doing bad things.
Wow, brainwashed at a young age.
Beauty of innocence, right?
Yeah, then Camel Joe came along.
Right, and I'm going to close this and start smoking the rest of my pack of cigarettes. God. Anyway, again, I love the world that they dropped him in. I felt they really tried to do. I felt like there was somebody in the room that was yelling, "We need to make this the best Turtles movie we can," and then somebody's in the room like, "We need to make this a realistic movie," and they just met in the middle somewhere, like fighting each other.
I think you're right. I think this is the best one besides the cartoon that came out a couple of years ago. I think this is the best one they've made. I think this is better than most of the movies they've made, the television shows they've made after the original.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd give you that. I would give you that.
So you have more to your rebuttal, or because we're running a little late?
One more quick thing is, this is definitely a repeat watch for me. I mean, it's just got all kinds of elements between all the awesome voices, good scenes, Casey Jones, relatively hot April, even though the hair was huge coming out of the 80s. But yeah.
You're not talking about our armpits.
Oh. So. and other news. So here's some of the movie news. Is Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer is supposed to come out October 23rd.
I thought it already came out
on DVD.
Oh, wow, DVD.
Okay.
It's supposed to come out on DVD and Blu-ray the 23rd of this next month.
Wow.
Which is really don't want to let that title get cold for a second, do they?
No.
I mean, I'm excited about it. I mean, I haven't bought a lot of movies. I'll probably buy this one on Blu-ray because I'm looking forward to it.
Wow. That's one of those ones you always like to throw in at a party and have 9 people sit there and make fun of it.
Yeah. I'm just kind of sitting there like, am It's already out.
I honestly, if they
That's why I was
released,
like, what are you talking about? It's coming out again.
in all honesty, they could re-release it again, and they'd probably still make money because how many people got a chance to see it?
Yeah, no joke.
The other one in kind of the Dear God department is Michael Bay will be back for Transformers 4 and possibly 5. So they're milking my childhood more and more and more.
No, they're not milking it. They're stabbing it.
It's close enough.
They're beating the dead horse. Is what they're doing.
Or a dead cow.
Shoot, they're beating a dead cash machine is what they're doing. Money just keeps flying out of that horse.
Now, the next one is one that you'll definitely have to see. According to Carl Urban, the Chronicles of Riddick sequel has an indie art house sensibility to it. It says it'll be closer to the feel of Pitch Black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the first one had a wicked indie feel, which was lost entirely in the Chronicles of Riddick.
The Chronicles of Riddick was a big box office movie.
Yeah, well, because it was coming off the heels of Pitch Black. That movie ruled.
Yeah, like a decade later.
I liked Pitch Black. Yeah. I can't say I was a big fan of any of the Chronicles of Riddick. I watched them all, even the
cartoon.
Yeah, even the Chronicle Animatrix, whatever you want to call that.
I liked both of them, actually.
But, I mean, you're laughing over there. I didn't like any of those. I mean, they weren't, like, horribly, like, I felt like I was just, like, my eyes were raped after it. But, it was pretty bad. I mean...
Harsh.
Yeah, I think it watered down the character a little bit.
Yeah, it did.
And the second part of the Why department is Smurf 2. The Smurfs 2 is scheduled for a summer release of July 31st, 2013.
The Smurfs 2?
Won't be waiting on bated breath for that one.
So this one has them, apparently Gargamel makes 2 evil Smurfs.
Are they both female?
No, one's female, one is male. And they go to New York for some reason again, and they can't stick to the damn forest. How about sticking into whatever the damn Smurfs are from?
Yeah, no joke.
And the next one is Jim Carrey's in Kick-Ass 2 as Colonel Stars. According from what I've read, he'll be in a supporting role.
Did you? Oh, really? That like a decent sized role.
I didn't find anything major. I didn't find anything that specified exactly what a supporting role. I don't know if he's going to be in a couple of scenes or if he's going to be there the whole time, or I don't know.
Did you guys like the first one?
I love the first one.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm saving it.
I want a hit girl.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I want a little like midget hit girl that I can go sick him.
I was gonna say. I bet if you ask your wife, she'll hit you. I mean,
no, she doesn't want one. She didn't like that movie. I did. I liked Hit Girl.
And the next one is I'm actually kind of excited. Is Anthony Hopkins is to play Hitchcock. And a film about he's
got to eat a lot more.
It's about around the same time. It's about in the same time the movie Psycho's played, and it's supposed to be, I guess, a backstory of him and somebody else and how they meet.
Hotel and everything.
Just a kind of a biopic, or are they doing something weird and supernatural with it? Like,
no, I think it's supposed to be like a biopic about him and his interaction with somebody. Apparently, my notes got lost in the process.
See, I liked Hitchcock's supernatural more than I liked his mystery, and I really enjoyed his mystery. His supernatural stuff was like really, really well done. If you guys ever don't know much about his old Supernatural, go back and watch the early Treehouse of Horrors. Most of the Treehouse of Horrors, The Simpsons,
based on
the Supernaturals of Hitchcock.
Well, shoot, look, I mean, it's really easy to find the Alfred Hitchcock Presents and the Alfred Hitchcock Hour. They're everywhere online, dude.
Yeah, they are, but I mean,
worth watching, man. They're as good as the old Twilight Zones. They're kind of timeless when you watch them. It's
but
just
I
like
enjoyed reading the
storytelling,
reading the books that he put together, the Alfred Hitchcock books.
Oh,
he did a suspenseful book, the mystery book, all those things, and that's what I read before I saw any of those. Anyway,
so that one looks interesting. The one I can't wait to see the Chronicles of Riddick sequel because I'm hoping it's going to be good. From the pictures I've seen of it online, I'm not sure about that. I'm not a fan of Carrie, period. So I haven't seen. I've been saving Kick-Ass because I figured James or Ryan will pick it in the future. So I haven't purposely watched it because of that.
Blasphemy of not being a fan.
Dude, if I had known that, I might not have done the pick I did this week.
And just I can't wait for Vampire Slayer. That's the Hunter. That's the one I've been waiting for a long time.
Yeah.
And so next week is James's pick. And what did you pick?
All right, so we've kind of discussed this before. John and I have. We kind of tossed it at Ryan a little bit just to see what he would think. I'm doing I'm doing part 1 and part 2 of a movie. It started out as an anime series that was banned in Japan.
Oh no.
Yep, I'm doing it.
Oh dear God.
I'm doing it. We talked about this. I'm doing it.
Oh,
Viewers.
We are doing
all 4 of them.
We're doing Gantz, the movie, the live action movie. And then we are doing Gantz the Perfect Answer, which is the sequel to it. It's the second part of Gantz.
I was
well, at least
afraid
I don't feel bad now about wanting to pick the unrated version of Caligula.
Are you serious?
No.
I was just say you're gonna have me watch that one again.
I was gonna say, by the way, I know somebody who has that DVD.
Really? Oh,
Now, ladies and gentlemen at home, look to the left of you, look to the right of you. If there's any people there, they have not seen Caligula. I guarantee it.
I've been avoiding Caligula my entire life. I've never wanted to see that movie.
Okay, so back to what I'm doing. This is actually this is an anime series that only got released in the States. It was banned in Japan. It came out here, and
it was banned for violence.
Yes, it was banned. It
wasn't
for
banned for nudity, no sexuality.
It was banned for violence.
It was too hyper-violent.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. This is a 2-part series. This is the first one and the second one. So that means we're watching 2 movies this week. All right.
Homework. Everybody.
Homework.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is what you need to watch for next week's show. And to do a little wrap-up on the show, I gave Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a 4, which it belonged at a 4. James and Ryan both gave it a 3.
Wow. That's my higher 3.
That's your higher 3. That's my lower 3.
Screw you. Shut up.
Wow. So like I said, I gave it a 4. James and Ryan gave it a 3, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Rob Charney, Old Guy Tech TV, and I'm here to talk to you today about Windfall. Windfall is your local paper for classified ads, for what's happening in El Dorado County, for just about anything that has to do with El Dorado County. And they've got some great specials going on right now. As a matter of fact, they have a business special that is stated so that it's a 12-week business text ad for only $60. You can't hardly buy anything for $60, let alone a 12-week ad. Now, of course, you can always add to that or shorten it, whatever you think you want to do. They'll work with you 100%. They'll put the artwork together for you. They'll put the layout together for you. All you need to do is get a hold of them, and they'll take care of all the work for you. And trust me, it works. And we've been with the Windfall for a long time, and it's a great relationship between Old Guy Tech TV and News 44 TV and the Windfall. And we want to make sure that you get to take the same kind of advantage. The paper's incredible. I really highly suggest that you go ahead and you pick up a copy of just about anywhere. They're everywhere, any restaurant or in front of the drugstores and many other stores. You'll find the Windfall there, and it's a great deal. And let me tell you a little bit about Rob and Tina. They've worked very hard to make this newspaper something that they're very proud of. They've done it through the School of Hard Knocks. They're incredible people. They work really hard for you. They want to share their experiences for you. And I can't think of a better 2 people to really take advantage of this and make sure that you get your ad into their paper, because we sure like it. And I know a lot of others out there who like it as well. And one of the things is they decided that they wanted to move to a larger facility. They were cramped. If you ever saw their old office, there's barely any room for people to move. So they had an opportunity to move to a new location, still in Diamond Springs, and they have a open house. And that open house is September 26th, starting at 5 p.m. over here in Diamond Springs. And you know what? If you can come on by and just say hello, that would be great. Take advantage of some of the food and the music and the cars and some of the other stuff that's out there, and really enjoy yourself and have a great time. So I'm looking forward to it. Old Guy Tech TV will be there. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you. If you've got a business or you have a message you want to get out, you come and see us. We'll make sure that gets done. So don't forget, shop the Windfall. Everybody needs a windfall.